Jimmy Haslam didn't wait long. The Browns owner was reportedly furious after witnessing Jeudy clap mockingly in Shedeur Sanders' face during Sunday's game against the 49ers. The sideline moment quickly went viral, not just for Jeudy's outburst, but for what it revealed about deeper fractures inside the Cleveland locker room. It took a veteran to separate the two, but the damage may already be done. For Haslam, who's been vocal about his expectations for character and leadership, the behavior crossed a line. And when your highest paid receiver is underperforming and disrespecting your most promising young quarterback, ownership notices and moves get made.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This is no longer just about a heated exchange. It's a breaking point for a team already under fire for lackluster offense and internal dysfunction. In that chaos, Shedeur Sanders is emerging as a calm and composed leader, willing to take accountability even when provoked. Meanwhile, Jeudy's behavior and the organization's response could redefine the Browns' approach to culture, leadership, and what kind of player gets to wear their jersey. You're watching the Cleveland Browns take on the 49ers when suddenly chaos breaks out on the sideline. And no, it's not a fight over play calling or a heated debate between coaches. It's Jeudy, full-blown meltdown mode, in the face of rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. The cameras catch it. The mic'd-up sidelines pick up enough. And within minutes, it's all over the internet. Jeudy, clapping directly in Sanders' face, visibly agitated, shouting at the rookie like he's been holding something in for weeks. You can see the tension boiling. A veteran player has to physically step in and pull them apart. And just like that, what should have been another regular Sunday becomes the Browns' newest controversy. And Jimmy Haslam? He's not having it. This wasn't just a sideline spat. This was a public unraveling of everything the Browns claim they're trying to build. Discipline, maturity, a functioning offense. Instead, what they got was a receiver berating his quarterback in front of millions while continuing to underperform on the field. Let's be honest. Jeudy has not been that guy. Stat-wise, flat. Momentum-wise, non-existent. It's been a season of drops, fumbles, and excuses. The only thing consistent has been frustration, and now, apparently, the finger-pointing. But here's the twist. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie QB being publicly called out, didn't lose his cool. He didn't clap back. He didn't escalate. He stood there, took it, and kept it professional. And that's exactly why Browns ownership is backing him all the way. Jimmy Haslam, who doesn't exactly hand out public endorsements like candy, made it crystal clear where he stands. According to insiders, he was furious after the game, not just at the optics, but at the culture threat Jeudy's behavior represents. Haslam reportedly reached out almost immediately to express his support for Sanders, praising the young quarterback's composure and leadership in the face of blatant disrespect. And let's be real, Haslam backing Sanders is not just a gesture. It's a message to the team, to the coaching staff, and especially to Jeudy. Because this isn't just about a bad moment on the sideline. This is about a growing pattern. Jeudy has struggled for years with handling criticism on and off the field. This is the same player Steve Smith Sr. famously called just a guy. And what did Jeudy do in response? He didn't prove the doubters wrong. He doubled down, got defensive, and continued to fumble both the ball and the PR. And now it's boiled. The Browns are already under fire for their lackluster offense. Kevin Stefanski's run-heavy scheme has been criticized all season for its lack of creativity and its failure to properly utilize the passing game. When your wide receivers are barely getting touches and your offense is sputtering, the last thing you want is one of your top players turning on the quarterback, especially when that quarterback is handling himself with this much. Shedeur Sanders, despite being a rookie in one of the most chaotic franchises in the NFL, has kept his head down and focused on growth. After the incident, he didn't blast Jeudy in the media. He didn't throw anyone under the bus. He said what needed to be said about trust, timing, and patience, then moved on, and that's exactly why the Browns are circling the wagons around him. In fact, several reports have already hinted that disciplinary action is on the table for Jeudy. Trade rumors are swirling. Analysts are questioning if he's even worth his 3-year, $52.5 million contract. And the sentiment among fans? The vibe is off, the patience is gone, and the receipts are stacking up. This isn't just about talent anymore. It's about character. Because the truth is, talent doesn't mean much if you're alienating your quarterback, dividing the locker room, and dragging down morale. And right now, Jeudy looks like a liability, not just because of the drops or the fumbles, but because of the attitude. The Browns are clearly trying to build a culture around accountability and professionalism, and Jeudy's behavior? Completely out of alignment. The sideline meltdown didn't just make headlines. It exposed a deeper issue, an identity crisis within the team. You've got a young QB try to earn trust, set an example, and lead through adversity. And instead of support, he's getting heckled by one of the veterans who should be helping him build that chemistry. As Sanders has said himself, this process takes time. Developing chemistry with receivers, building confidence, learning to adapt to NFL speed. It's not instant, but what matters is the work ethic, the attitude, the willingness to take accountability. And from everything we've seen, Sanders is checking all those boxes, which is why this moment, this flashpoint with Jeudy, is so important. It's not just about a single argument. It's about what kind of team the Browns want to be. Do they want to reward professionalism, maturity, and leadership? Or do they keep enabling egos and dysfunction? Jimmy Haslam's response makes it pretty clear. By siding with Sanders and publicly criticizing Jeudy's behavior, Haslam is drawing a line in the sand, and it's a line that signals a shift. The Browns aren't going to tolerate the kind of drama that's been quietly simmering for weeks. The leash is shorter, the standards are higher, and the days of unchecked locker room tension might finally be over. This also opens a door for bigger consequences. If you're Jeudy right now, you're on the hot seat. Your performance hasn't justified the paycheck. Your attitude just cost you major points with ownership. And your future in Cleveland is murky at best. A trade? Entirely possible. A benching? Wouldn't be shocking. Because the Browns have made it clear they're building around values, not just stats. And for Sanders, this whole incident might be the very thing that cements his role as the true leader of the team. When the cameras were rolling and the pressure was high, he stayed calm. He didn't lash out. He didn't make excuses. He led by example. That kind of composure is rare, especially in a rookie. And it's exactly the kind of presence you need if you're trying to rebuild a fractured franchise. The NFL is full of talented players who never make it because they can't handle the pressure, the criticism, or the team dynamics. And right now, Jerry Jeudy is dangerously close to becoming one of those cautionary tales. Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, is doing everything right, and the organization sees it. That's why this isn't just a story about a sideline blow-up. It's a case study in how leadership, and the lack of it, can shape a team's future. It's a reminder that talent alone doesn't win games. Culture does. Cohesion does. Mutual respect does. And when one player starts poisoning that culture, the smart teams cut ties. We're watching the Browns draw a new blueprint in real time. One where drama gets benched, maturity gets rewarded, and leadership gets the final say. If Jeudy wants to stay in that picture, he's going to have to take a long, hard look at his actions and start matching the energy of the quarterback he just disrespected. Because one thing's for sure, Shedeur Sanders didn't just win the argument. He may have just won the locker room. If you're still following this Wild Brown saga, make sure to like the video, drop a comment with your take. Should the team trade Jeudy or give him one more shot? And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next meltdown, blow-up, or sideline circus. Let's keep going, because this story isn't cooling off anytime soon. The fallout from Jerry Jeudy's sideline eruption didn't just rattle fans or spark headlines. It hit the core of how NFL teams function. Locker rooms are delicate ecosystems. You've got egos, pressure, contracts, reputations, all simmering beneath the surface. And when someone like Jeudy detonates in full view of cameras, it's not just a bad look. It's a trust collapse. You know how hard it is to walk back a public confrontation with your quarterback? That's not just water under the bridge. That's the kind of moment that lingers in meetings, creeps into practices, and fractures the already fragile dynamic between wide receivers and QBs. especially when your target is someone like Shedeur Sanders, a guy who hasn't even had a full season to settle in and already has the weight of the franchise on his back. Let's not pretend the Browns aren't already under enough pressure. A clunky offense, an injury carousel, national scrutiny, and now, internal drama going viral before the fourth quarter ends? This is the exact scenario teams dread when they invest in potential overproduction. And Jeudy? He's kind of become the poster child for that gamble not paying off. His numbers are underwhelming, and that's putting it kindly. For someone on a multi-million-dollar deal, he's made more headlines for attitude problems than touchdown catches, missed assignments, costly drops, zero chemistry with quarterbacks, and now, a full-on meltdown aimed at a rookie who's shown more maturity in 10 weeks than Jeudy has in 4 seasons. The problem isn't just a performance. It's a deflection. Instead of taking ownership for his own lack of impact, Jeudy chose to go after the one teammate actually trying to build something. That's what really struck a nerve with fans and insiders alike. It's not just bad optics, it's selfish. And in a league that runs on next man up energy, being seen as a locker room liability is career quicksand. That's why the noise around a potential trade is getting louder. Teams don't just look at stat sheets anymore. They look at body language, press conferences, sideline demeanor. They look at moments like this and ask, is this guy part of the solution or the problem? Right now, Jeudy isn't doing himself any. Meanwhile, Sanders is turning into the kind of story owners and coaches salivate over. The young QB who keeps his head down, holds himself accountable, and doesn't snap when provoked. The guy who shows up, speaks like a leader, and takes criticism without crumbling. That kind of poise is rare. And when it comes from someone barely in his rookie year, that's culture gold. Then make no mistake, this is what the Browns are trying to build. Culture, identity, a team that doesn't implode every time things get tough. Which is why Jimmy Haslam stepping in so swiftly is such a big deal. Owners don't usually make public declarations after a sideline scuffle. But Haslam did. Because to him, this wasn't a minor issue. It was a full-blown red flag. And honestly, he's right. The Browns have spent years trying to shake off the dysfunctional franchise label. They've burned through quarterbacks, swapped coaches like socks, invested in players who looked great on paper, and then blew up the locker room from the inside. This time, they're trying to be different. They're trying to lead with character. So when Sanders got embarrassed on national television by a teammate and still managed to respond like a vet, that wasn't just admirable, it was the blueprint. And Haslam saw it. He saw a leader. He saw you can feel the shift happening in real time. For so long, the Browns have been haunted by this cycle, chasing flash over foundation. But Shedeur Sanders is forcing a new conversation. What if leadership isn't about age or resume, but about how you act when things go sideways? What if this is the kind of player you build around? Because let's be real, quarterbacks define franchises, not just with talent, but with temperament. And Sanders is quietly proving he's built for this. He's not taking shots at teammates. He's not making excuses. He's not letting the noise pull him off focus. Even when the disrespect is personal and public, he stays calm. That's not just rare. That's exactly what the Browns need. Jeudy, on the other hand, is fumbling more than the football. He's fumbling the opportunity to be part of something bigger than himself. He's fumbling his own reputation. And the NFL is watching. This league is ruthless when it comes to tolerance for drama. If your production doesn't outweigh your problems, your days are numbered. And that's the tightrope Jeudy's now walking. Teams will only make space for players who contribute on the field and bring value off it. Right now, Jeudy is doing neither, and every headline that paints him as a volatile, uncoachable presence just chips away at his leverage. When Steve Smith said he was just a guy, it stung, but it stuck. And Jeudy hasn't done much since to prove that label wrong. Meanwhile, Sanders is building credibility by the week. He's not lighting up stat sheets yet. He's still learning. But the emotional intelligence, the leadership instincts, those can't be coached. And he's showing them in spades. His comments after the incident about needing time to build trust, about staying patient, were exactly what the team needed to hear, exactly what fans needed to see, and exactly what Haslam needed to invest in, because at the end of the day, Organizations don't just succeed because of talent. They succeed because of culture. And Sanders is quietly establishing himself as a cornerstone of that culture. So where does this leave Jeudy? On the edge. The Browns don't need to keep players who aren't on board with their vision. And if Jeudy can't align with that, if he can't reflect, apologize, and change, then he's gone. Whether through trade, release, or just being phased out of the offense. The clock is ticking. Because when your quarterback is acting like the adult in the room, and you're the one causing drama, that's not a good look. And no one's going to forget this sideline moment. It's already being clipped, memed, and dissected on sports talk shows. Jeudy clapping in Sanders' face has become symbolic of something bigger. The clash between ego and accountability. Between the past and the future. Between what the Browns used to tolerate. And what they're moving away from. And honestly, that shift might finally get them somewhere. Because for once, they're backing the right guy. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the one who understands what leadership really means. So here we are, Jerry Jeudy on the verge of becoming a cautionary tale, and Shedeur Sanders stepping up as the unexpected anchor of a franchise desperately in need of direction. The contrast couldn't be clearer. The Browns have a choice to make, but from the looks of it, they already have. And if Jeudy doesn't like it, well, he's got no one to blame but himself. So let's break this down, because this isn't just another heated moment caught on camera. This is a boiling point. And depending on how the Browns handle it, it could be the spark that either burns down the locker room or lights a fire under the franchise. What Jerry Jeudy did wasn't just emotionally immature. It was a betrayal of the unspoken contract every receiver has with their quarterback. You drop passes, fine. You miss a route, it happens. But you don't go after your QB in public, in front of your teammates, with TV cameras rolling. That's crossing the line from frustration into sabotage. And when it's directed at a rookie like Shedeur Sanders, who's been nothing but composed, professional, and focused, it's not a good look. For Jeudy, it was probably a release valve, a buildup of weeks of poor stats and mounting pressure. But for the rest of the team, for the fans watching at home, it was a red flag waving in high definition. You could feel the air change after that moment. Everyone, from teammates to commentators, knew what they'd just seen. Not just a tantrum. A signal that Jerry Jeudy is no longer aligned with the culture this team is trying to build. And here's what makes it worse. The Browns aren't even asking for perfection right now. They know the offense is flawed. They know Stefanski's scheme isn't lighting up the scoreboard. But what they do expect, what Jimmy Haslam has made crystal clear, is professionalism, maturity, unity, and Jeudy gave them the exact opposite. Compare that to Shedeur Sanders, who just got verbally clowned by a guy with fewer touchdowns and temper tantrums, and didn't flinch. He didn't shout back. He didn't roll his eyes. He didn't play into the drama. He absorbed it and walked away. And after the game, he kept it classy, took accountability, talked about trust and timing. He even gave Jeudy grace that honestly wasn't earned. That's not just leadership. That's restraint. That's someone who understands the long game. Because Shedeur knows this isn't college anymore. He can't afford to get into ego battles on the sideline. He's got an entire locker room watching him. And the moment he takes that bait, he loses credibility. But he didn't. And in doing so, he gained something far more valuable. Respect. That's what Jimmy Haslam saw. That's what fans saw. And that's what might have sealed Jeudy's fate. Let's be real. This isn't just about a personality clash. It's about value. And right now, the math isn't working in Jeudy's favor. You can't be an underperforming wideout and a locker room headache. You've got to pick one. And Jeudy seems determined to be both. The thing is, this isn't the first time we've seen cracks in his armor. The inability to handle criticism. The body language when things don't go his way. The way he shifts blame instead of stepping up. It's all part of the same pattern. And now, it's reached a point where even the ownership can't ignore it. That's why we're hearing whispers of potential trades. Or worse, outright release. Because the Browns don't want to keep repeating history. They've made that mistake before. Paying for star power and ending up with locker room poison. And in a league where leadership is everything, Jeudy is giving them every reason to move on. Meanwhile, Shedeur is doing something a lot of veterans never figure out. He's letting his behavior set the tone, not his highlight reel. And that's more valuable than any stat line. Because when the locker room believes in their quarterback, everything else becomes possible. Guys block harder. They hustle more. They buy in. That's the kind of culture change the Browns have been chasing for years. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean Shedeur is perfect. He's still adjusting. Still learning the pace of the NFL. But the way he's doing it, that's the story here. He's not melting down after losses. He's not finger-pointing. He's asking for patience while putting in the work. That's how trust is built. So if you're wondering why the front office is backing him so hard, this is why. They've seen what happens when you bet on ego over integrity. Now they're betting on composure, on character, on the guy who didn't clap back, even when he had every reason to. And as for Jeudy, well, this might be the turning point. Because when you're clapping in your quarterback's face, in front of a national audience, after a game where you fail to show up, you're not making a case to stay. You're handing the team every excuse they need to move on. And when the owner is already on record backing the other guy, yeah, it's not looking good. At this point, Jeudy either has to pull off a complete 180, own his behavior, apologize, show growth, or he's out. There's no middle ground anymore. The Browns are done walking that line. And honestly, they should be. The days of tolerating talented divas who bring nothing but tension are over. Because the path to a winning team doesn't start with stats. It starts with standards. And if this latest meltdown did anything, it revealed exactly where those standards are. So what do you think? Should the Browns ship Jeudy out and turn the page? Or does he deserve another shot to make it right? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like if you're here for the drama, and make sure you're subscribed. Because if this team is heading into a full-blown culture war, you know we're covering every second of it.